India can take pride in a rich and long tradition of handicrafts. A distinctive Bengal style has been evident in ceramics, terracotta and tokra, to name only a few. It is a tradition that has survived the ravages of time as well as countless foreign invasions over the ages. Our handicrafts are known for their unique qualities and diversity. These handicrafts have not only served our day-to-day needs, but have also decked out our homes. Thousands of artisans depend on these handicrafts for their livelihood. In West Bengal alone, producing more than 100 types of craft products. These products help our country earn a sizable amount of foreign exchange through exports. Mainly women are engaged in this craft. Unfortunately, however, many of our traditional crafts are languishing. The artisans are not always well equipped to meet the changing tastes of today's customers. They are also not able to market their products effectively enough. The program is being implemented by Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust, a public charitable trust which has been working for the last 2 decades to promote and encourage art, science, education and health. It also aims at supporting new entrepreneurs by equipping them with the necessary skills through proper training. A number of workshops have already been held with the help of leading designers. More workshops are being planned. Products developed in the workshops are expected to find a good national and international market.
খুবই ভালো প্রচেষ্টা ওনাদের। কারণ এখানে আমরা আসি, এখানে আমরা এসে বিনা ইয়েতে স্টলটা পাচ্ছি। ইলেকট্রিক যা আছে যাবতীয় সব কিছু টোটালটাই ফ্রি এখানে, এবং আসা যাওয়ার জন্য একটা খরচাও দেয়।
উদ্দেশ্যটা যেটা প্রধান উদ্দেশ্য, যে হস্তশিল্পীরা তাদের সুন্দর সুন্দর জিনিস তাদের হাতে তৈরি করেন, সেই তাদের শিল্প কর্মগুলোকে একটা প্ল্যাটফর্ম দেওয়া, যেখানে তারা বিভিন্ন বায়ার্স, যারা এখানকার স্থানীয় এবং বাইরের থেকে যারা আসছেন, তাদের সাথে সরাসরি যোগাযোগটা করতে পারেন, তাদের শিল্পকর্মগুলোর প্রদর্শনীটা আরো ভালোভাবে তারা করতে পারেন। সেটাই প্রধান উদ্দেশ্য এই মেলা।
Alokananda Munni Roy is an internationally acclaimed Indian classical dancer who is also a reformer of souls. Her versatility and innovative dance styles enrich her creative stage productions, especially with the inmates of correctional homes. She is also the daughter of Dr. Sadhan C Dutt's childhood friend and the wife of his cousin, Arjun Dutt. Alokananda, who is recovering from COVID herself, has prepared a short offering to the divine called Healing Dance. This is Nabanna Earth Weekend's tribute to the victims of the COVID pandemic. May the world heal and may peace prevail. Alokananda's Healing Dance.
এসো সোনার বরণ রানী গো, শঙ্খ কমল করে। এসো সোনার বরণ রানী গো, শঙ্খ কমল করে। এসো মা লক্ষ্মী, বসো মা লক্ষ্মী, থাকো মা লক্ষ্মী ঘরে। এসো মা লক্ষ্মী, বসো মা লক্ষ্মী, থাকো মা লক্ষ্মী ঘরে। এসো সোনার বরণ রানী গো, শঙ্খ কমল করে। গাছে গাছে দেছো ভারে ভারে ফল, মাঠে মাঠে দেছো ধান। গোষ্ঠে গোষ্ঠে সুশীলা কপিলা, দুধের নদীতে তুলেছো বান। গাছে গাছে দেছো ভারে ভারে ফল, মাঠে মাঠে দেছো করে নদীর জল ধুয়ে নেছো যার জ্বালা তোমার রতনে সাজানো যতনে পড়েছো দিনারি মালা চিরদিন সুখে রেখো গো অচলা হইয়া থেকো গো তোমারে অন্নপূর্ণা দেব মা তোমারে করে আজ তোমারে অন্নপূর্ণা দেব মা তোমারে করে এসো সোনার বরণ রানী গো শঙ্খ কমল
Good afternoon. A very warm welcome to all of you. Today is a very special day, the 100th birth anniversary of leading industrialist Dr. Sadhan C Dutt, founder chairman of Development Consultants Group and founder of the Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust, the trust that is presenting this festival. We inaugurate our program with a centennial tribute to Dr. Sadhan C Dutt. This is the third edition of Nabanna Earth Weekend, New NEW Festival 2021, held virtually this year due to the ongoing pandemic. New is a part of the annual Nabanna Crafts Mela held in Santiniketan by Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust. With us on screen, and we'd like to see them one by one, please, are Ms. Shanta Ghosh, the daughter of Dr. Sadhan C Dutt, who is Chairperson of Development Consultants Private Limited, President of the Crafts Council of West Bengal, and Managing Trustee of Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust. Shanta Di, we'd like to have you on screen, please. Mr. Shubhi Chakraborty, Secretary of Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust, Ms. Anjum Katyal, Curator of Nabanna Earth Weekend or New Festival, and Ms. Atre Sengupta, Coordinator of New Festival. May I invite Shubhi Chakraborty to say a few words about Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust or SAMT.
Thank you, Andrila. Good afternoon. On behalf of Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust, I welcome you to Nabanna Earth Weekend on New Festival, our literary meet, which is being held virtually this year. Since 2019, this festival has been an integral part of Nabanna, the 10-day annual Arts and Crafts Fair of the Trust. Mrs. Katyal, News Curator, will tell you more about you a bit later. Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust was set up in 1985 by the late Dr. Sadhan C Dutt, founder chairman of the DC Group of Companies, in the memory of his parents to promote education, art, handicraft, healthcare, and sustainable rural technologies. One of the important missions of the Trust is increasing literacy amongst the underprivileged children. Keeping this in mind, the Trust introduces them to formal education through its chain of Montessori schools, Congress Montessori House in Kolkata, Newtown, IIT Kharagpur campus, Santiniketan, and New Delhi. These underprivileged children are provided their books and stationery free of cost and tiffin when they come to school. To facilitate marketing of handicrafts products by the artisan, Suresh Amiya organizes Nabanna, the one Andrila was just mentioning a bit back. This 10-day art and craft fair at Santiniketan is the initiative and was conceived and implemented by Mr. Shanta Ghosh in 2006. Mr. Shanta Ghosh is our managing trustee and head of the Development Consultants Group. She is also the president of the Crafts Council of West Bengal. In Nabanna, stalls are provided free to all participants And for artisans from outside Santiniketan, accommodation is also arranged. The fair, which started with 46 artisans 15 years back, in 2020 had 200 participants who came from all over India. And we're proud to say that they together took home almost 10 million rupees from the sale of their wares. The exhibition, over and above showcasing of the products of artisans, also has conservation and craft development workshops and seminars, which are conducted in association with INTAC, Financial Institute, LIC, and other experts in the field. Art camps are held for children, medical camps for the Nabanna participants and their families, food festival, and cultural programs every day. The Trust for nearly 2 decades has also been organizing design and technology development workshops and training programs on various crafts in collaboration with Ministry of Textiles, Government of India, and the Department of Self-Help Group and Self-Employment, Government of West Bengal. More than 1,200 artisans have directly benefited from these programs. Now, to connect the artisans to a wider audience, the Trust is developing an online platform to showcase their products. This is a glimpse of the store. This virtual store, which was planned to be launched today, is a bit delayed due to the present COVID and lockdown situation. I will not hold you up any longer because there are many interesting sessions lined up this evening. But before I end, on behalf of all the members of the Trust, I would like to thank Mrs. Bharati Dutt, wife of late Dr. Dutt, for her encouragement in all our activities throughout the year. Thank you once again for supporting Nabanna and New Festival. May God bless us all.
Thank you, Shubhida. I now request Anjum Katiyal to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Nabanna Earth Weekend, or the New Festival, presented by Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust, is a free, open access, non-profit, bilingual festival of arts and ideas with an international presence. In its inaugural year itself, New crossed borders as it participated at the Dhaka Lit Fest in Bangladesh with writers from across the globe. The following year, New in turn hosted a contingent from Dhaka Lit Fest and several writers from Bangladesh. This year, due to the COVID situation, we are presenting this festival on a virtual platform. The overall theme of Nabanna Earth Weekend this year is the vision of Tagore, 100 years of Vishwa Bharati. Not just Vishwa Bharati and Kala Bhavan founded by Rabindranath Tagore, this is a year of several significant centenaries. We have already heard that today we are celebrating Dr. Sadhan C Dutt's centenary. 2021 is a centennial year for other renowned personalities as well, like Somnath Kaur, Satyajit Ray, Chidananda Das Gupta, and New will celebrate them through discussions and talks, book readings and conversations with leading thinkers and writers. Keeping Santiniketan and the vision of Tagore at the core, both through themes and through the involvement of participants and contributors, we invite you to enjoy Nabanna Earth Weekend 2021 and look forward to welcoming you to Santiniketan next year for the festival as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjum. May I now request Ms. Shanta Ghosh to say a few words.
Hello everyone. I welcome you to the centenary celebration of my father's birth anniversary, the late Dr. Sadhan C Dutt. My parents always celebrated their birthday together. My mother's birthday is just a day earlier, May 28th. As a matter of fact, we celebrated her 93rd birthday yesterday. She's still very alert and curious and is reigning as the matriarch of our family. It is our pleasure to inaugurate Nabanna Earth Weekend Festival on my father's birthday as a tribute to him. This year we are presenting, as you can see on a virtual platform due to the pandemic. We will miss the Santiniketan venue and its ambience. For the last 14 years, we have celebrated Nabanna in Santiniketan at the Geetanjali Cultural Complex. I hope next year we will be able to welcome you in person in Santiniketan at the Cultural Complex. And you will see the beautiful handicrafts and textiles that the artisans bring to the Nabanna Mela. We are very fortunate to have world-renowned speakers and eminent personalities participating in this event, and we are grateful to them for sparing their valuable time and encouraging us with their interest and enthusiasm. It has been a great boost to our Nabanna team to try harder. This year's theme is Vision of Tagore, conceived by our curator Anjum Katyal. It's very appropriate because Vishwabharati is also celebrating its 100th year, and incidentally, 3 very famous personalities have their birth centenaries this year: Satyajit Ray, Somnath Hoare, and Chidananda Dasgupta. And we are going to honor them in this event through panel discussions of their life and work. Thank you, Anjum, for making this happen. There is one other person I have to thank who has been indispensable in producing this, and that is Atri Shengupta. She has given her heart and soul coordinating and juggling sessions of speakers without a frown, tolerating our phone calls and obvious questions. Thank you, Atri. I would be remiss if I did not thank our data core and DCPL technical team. Without them, I doubt whether this would be possible. Thank you. I appreciate you all. And lastly, Oindrila, before I hand over the virtual mic to you, thank you for conducting this. We will show a short video of family members remembering my father. To all of you, enjoy the program. Thank you.
আজকে আমার স্বামীর 100তম জন্মদিন, সেই উপলক্ষে আমি কিছু বলতে চাই। আমি এই আমাদের বিবাহিত জীবন 59 বছরের, এর মধ্যে যা পেয়েছি, যা দেখেছি, তুলনা তার নেই। ওনার কাছে কিছু চাইতে হতো না, চাইবার আগেই সব পেতাম। এটাই আমার ওনার সবচেয়ে বড় পাওয়া।
Baba was a very kind, compassionate and caring person. He bonded with most people around him, his family, his extended family, his colleagues, and all those friends that he had from his college days that we had social interaction with when growing up. Being his only child, I hogged a large part of this love and compassion. Growing up, I did not spend so much time with my father always. He was a very busy man, traveling and building power stations and cement plants all over the world. But when we did spend time, when he was home, maybe on a weekend, we spent quality time, and he taught me many things outside my school curriculum. I think he was the first one who brought these books of European painters, and I think my interest in art started growing from that point. He always led by example. Others thought he was a towering personality. They were in awe of him, but to me, he was a very quiet and loving father.
Dadu was my best friend. We laughed together, we cooked together, we traveled together. I would tease him about his loud snoring and he would chuckle warmly in response. I miss him every day.
Dadu was an amazing human being and had such wonderful qualities that we all were inspired by. But for me, his most admirable quality was the time that he invested in people and in learning their stories. Whenever we traveled with my grandparents growing up, both me and my sister would travel the world with them. And I remember that in every place that we would go to, whether it was traveling by bus or train or even by airplanes, he would always make friends with the person sitting next to him and really put in time to listen to that person's story. And that's a really wonderful thing because everybody wants their story to be heard and valued. And that's something he genuinely did. And he did this even at his workplace, in his office. I remember that whether it was in the transport department or whether it was directors of the company, each and every individual told me that they were always in awe with Dadu and how he would always make an effort to listen to them and remember the names of their relatives or friends or remember their stories, which were really important to them. And I feel terrible and so sad that Rehan, my husband, could not meet Dadu ever. But I'm sure both would enjoy each other's company. Since I think Revant is also someone who loves listening to people's stories. So that's something that kind of connects them as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never got the opportunity to meet Sadhan Dutt himself, but from all the stories that I've heard from Shuli, from Ma, from Dida, and of course the staff of DCPL, I have this sense of collective memories of everyone, which has created my idea and my notion of Sadhan Dutt. And in that, he's definitely this very empathetic, generous, kind man, as Shuli was just talking about, who was genuinely interested in people's lives. And that to me is very inspiring, given that he was, the first or probably the early generation of Bengali entrepreneurs who was interested in technology and engineering and created that foundation for where Bengal is today or where India is today. And hopefully through this exercise, I am very inspired and I hope more and more people learn about him and the work that he did. And besides the work, the human part of it that made him such an inspiring leader.
ডক্টর সাধন চন্দ্র দত্ত উনি আমার মেসোমশাই ছিলেন অসম্ভব সৎ নম্র বিনয়ী এবং নিরহংকারী মানুষ ছিলেন হি ইজ কনসিডার্ড টু বি মাই সেকেন্ড ফাদার এর বেশি আর আমার কিছু বলার নেই
অনেকেই অনেক কিছু বলবেন অনেক স্মৃতি আমার একটা ঘটনা মনে পড়ছে আমার বিয়ের 3-4 বছর পরে হঠাৎ মেশো একদিন বললেন মেশো ডাকতাম আমরা মেশো একদিন বললেন চলো আমরা একটু দেখে আসি ম্যাজিক দেখে আসি তখন ওই জুনিয়র পিসি সরকার ম্যাজিক দেখাচ্ছিলেন মহাজাতি সদনে সেখানে আমরা দেখতে গেলাম আমি মেশো সুমনা আর সুলগ্না 4 জনে মানে এত ইন্টারেস্ট ছিল এইসব ব্যাপারে ওনার যে আমি খুব আশ্চর্য হই নিজের এত ব্যস্ততা থাকা সত্ত্বেও এত সব জিনিসে ওনার ইন্টারেস্ট ছিল
Dadumuni was affectionate, giving, loving. He always made us feel very special. It's hard to describe what he was to all of us.
Dadumuni was magnanimous. He was kind, gentle, full of warmth. Whenever he greeted you, you could see the love in his eyes, always.
Dadumuni was one of the warmest, kindest people I've known in my life. His heart, pure gold. We miss him, always.
Hi Rangadadu, I hope you are enjoying your morning golf wherever you are. I will always remember you as the perfect balance of charm and warmth to all those around you.
That was my father.
Joining us on this special occasion are Mr. Indrajit Bardhan and Mr. Kenneth, who knew Dr. Sadhan Dutt and will share their memories of him. Mr. Indrajit Bardhan first. He's a financial professional based in New York with over 25 years of experience in investment banking. He has run businesses and overseen risk for major firms, including Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, and Credit Suisse. Dr. Bardhan holds a bachelor's degree from IIT in Mumbai, India, as well as a master's degree and a Ph.D. in operations research from Columbia University School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. Mr. Bardhan.
Good morning. I hope you enjoyed the family video. I'd like to speak about Sadhan Dutt as the family man we all knew and loved. He was my grandmother's brother, my mother's uncle. In fact, he was very close to my mother and my aunt. He was their mama mummy. So it was only natural that my sister and my cousins and I ended up calling him Dadu Muni. Now, from the very beginning, I knew Dadu Muni as a successful and respected member of family. Someone who everyone could depend on. I remember his home in Kolkata. It was always full of people coming and going. There were so many people, and they were all welcomed as family members. I, in fact, didn't know who were relatives, who were friends, who were co-workers. In fact, everyone was greeted with warmth and generosity, and of course, lots of delicious food. It was a lively atmosphere full of bustle. And then, in the evenings, Dadu Muni would come home after a busy day at work. He would always have a quiet entry. He had a calm demeanor and an inviting smile. Everyone in the room would look to speak with him, to get some time with him. He had this way of engaging each person directly, making them feel special when they were chatting about different things. I also remember that many of those discussions were about helping others. It could be something personal and mundane, or it could be something deep and big and related to the whole community. That ethos of always trying to help others is one of my most enduring memories of him. So it was all the more special when this busy, revered person shared so much of his time with me. First as a little boy and then as a growing teen. I remember vividly waiting in the dark of dawn to be picked up by Dadu Muni, to join him in his early rounds of golf. The morning started in a Kolkata mist, but then slowly warmed up to be just right as we were turning to the 7th hole and coming down to that plate of sausages, which was the highlight of my 9-year-old self. But I can still recall the pleasure that he took from my obvious happiness, as if that whole outing was just about that moment. Dadu Muni loved seeing people happy. It was always nice to see Dadu Muni in Kolkata, but it was also special for us to see him when he passed through Mumbai, during his frequent trips abroad. No matter how short the time, he would always drop into my parents' home, often with a work colleague or two, and then he'd whisk us off to a dinner at some smart hotel in town. Oh, what a treat that was. Over a really nice fancy meal, we'd be enthralled by stories of his travels, of places he'd been to, of people he'd met. At a young age, it was just amazing for me to hear of all these exotic places that I'd only read about or seen in movies. But I also noted that he spoke of these places with so much appreciation and humility, as if he was grateful that he had the opportunity to travel the world, that he was grateful for the success he had. That's another enduring memory, that he was so humble about his success. My mother and he had a very special relationship, one that was formed, obviously from a common heritage, but also of common values and common interests. They shared the same sense of family responsibility and traditional values, as well as this keen love of travel and this interest in the world around them. Their strong bond formed a nucleus around which we were all drawn together. Well, later, when I had the chance to study in America, I was fortunate to be in New York, which was just a short train ride away from their home in Philadelphia. I naturally spent a lot of time with him and my Dida and my aunt Shanta on many weekends. I joined them on their daily lives as well as on nice long trips. And of course, once again, their house was the center, this time of an international community. And they were always visitors from India. It was almost a given that you were going to America, you were going to stay at the Datta residence. Well, here too, Dadumuni took a lot of personal interest in my studies and my life as a student. I think he was able to sort of relive his own memories through my experiences. I remember spending many a train ride with him between Philly and New York, listening to him share his early experiences in the US from back in the 50s. And he talked about going to Detroit with his new bride, of being introduced to the bitter cold of American winters, and also the generous warmth of his American hosts. He was always very respectful of his American colleagues and friends. He felt they'd opened up their doors to him from early on, giving him his start in business and then the decades of friendship while living among them. In general, he was very respectful of people from different backgrounds and he did not judge them. He was very open-minded. Of course, obviously, as we cherish Dadumuni, we also cherish those who helped him achieve his success. From his parents, to his wife, Maidida, to his daughter Shanta and his granddaughters Shumana and Shuli, all of whom really supported him in his vision and charity. He wouldn't have been the person he was without them. And of course, his family was very special and dear to him. It was the source of strength for him. He was very fond of his granddaughters, and I know that he would have been so enchanted by his two delightful great-granddaughters, Amelie and Ayla. Well, there is so much more to say about Dadumuni, about his generosity, his gentleness, his insatiable curiosity, his work ethic, and his truly remarkable ability to hold people close. But, when you love someone, you'll never feel like you've said everything you want to say about them. So I'm going to leave it here by saying, Dadumuni, happy 100th birthday, and thank you for your legacy.
Thank you, Mr. Bardhan. Kenneth E.R. is a senior lawyer whose practice concentrates in the area of taxation and includes business and individual tax planning, estate planning, trust and estate administration, and tax litigation, especially matters involving international taxation, including tax planning for non-resident aliens, dual citizens, green card holders, and US citizens residing abroad. Mr. R's law career started with positions at the Department of State and at the National Office of the Internal Revenue Service. His degrees include a Bachelor of Arts from the American University, 1970, Juris Doctor, University of Virginia, 1973, and an LLM, Taxation, George Washington University, 1979. Mr. R, it's over to you.
Hello, my name is Kenneth All. I'm an attorney in Philadelphia, and it is a great honor and privilege for me to speak about Sadhan Dutt. I met Dr. Dutt in connection with a legal matter for one of his companies based in Philadelphia. I got to know him quite well. I represented him on a personal basis for many years thereafter. We became good friends, and it was always my pleasure to sit down with him over lunch and talk about things. He was a great thinker and a delight to be with, and I enjoyed his company very much. He was a man of integrity. He always operated his businesses and his personal financial interests in accordance with the law. People treated him with respect because he was fair and honest in his dealings with others. If he gave his word on a business matter, it was known that he would keep it. He came to the US and began to work with an established engineering firm in Philadelphia. He started as a first-time employee with only a small starting salary. Over the years, through hard work, talent, and experience, he eventually became CEO and principal owner of the company. Dr. Dutt was a visionary. Today we all know about globalization. He was decades ahead of everyone else. He realized that talented technical expertise existed not just in the United States, but in other countries as well. Brain power did not have borders, and he realized that in a technical service business, work could be done in India as well as in the US on many projects. His scope and thinking knew no boundaries. Although an engineer by training, his vision was not limited to that alone. He became interested in other areas of business, such as data processing, transportation, health, and biotechnology. Finally, I want to comment on how he was in many ways a simple man with a big heart. He knew about life. He loved his wife, his daughter, and his granddaughters. He respected others, and everyone who knew him respected him as well. I wanted to note that there's a room in the Philadelphia Museum of Art, one of the world's great museums, with a special collection of art from India that is dedicated to Mr. and Mrs. Dutt. This room was funded by the family as a living tribute to the accomplishments of Shadam and Bharati Dutt. I was very pleased to be invited to attend the opening of this special gallery with Dr. Dutt's granddaughter Shumana and her husband Sean. If you come to Philadelphia, please be sure to see it. It is a wonderful tribute to this remarkable couple. I want to thank everyone who organized this event and for keeping Dr. Dutt's memory alive for all of us who knew him and loved him. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Jawhar Shortcut, who will deliver the Centennial commemoration on Dr. Sadhan C Dutt. Jawhar Shortcut, retired IAS and former CEO Prasar Bharati, is also a prolific writer on cultural history and a public speaker. During his tenure as Culture Secretary, amongst other initiatives, he took on the modernization of museums, archives, and libraries, for which he was awarded the British Museum Medal. Mr. Sircar has been a member of the governing councils of Indian Council of World Affairs Consortium for Educational Communication, Film and Television Institute of India, and also trustee and GB member of IIM, Kolkata, Victoria Memorial Museum, Indian Museum, National Library, National School of Drama, IGNCA, the 3 national academies, and much more. Over to Mr. Jawhar Shortcut.
Thank you very much. It is my proud privilege to say a few words about one of the most iconic lead of engineering, Mr. Sadhan C Dutt. Mr. Dutt was way senior to me, but in my service life in administration in West Bengal, I have seen him on several occasions. And while I was in the Department of Industry, I happened to converse with him, happened to have a few words with him on certain occasions. I have admired this man at a distance for various reasons. One of them is that he moved to the United States after picking up his graduate degree from the Banaras Hindu University, presently known as IIT Banaras. And instead of staying back, he involved himself in the best of technology, best of what project and power management could offer at that point of time. He impressed Mr. Harry Kuljian of the famous Kuljian Corporation so much. I mean, there was a lot of age difference between the two of them, but he impressed Mr. Harry Kuljian to such an extent that he chose him to lead the India operations of Kuljian Corporation, which he did from the early 50s. You must remember it was a very difficult choice. Like most others, he could have stayed back in the United States, merged himself into high technology, made his money, and moved on. Instead, he chose to come back to his country, which had just started its path to development after being battered by the British rule for about 200 years. He started in the 50s, and his first feather in his cap was the Bokaro Thermal Power Project. In fact, after Bokaro, he was recognized as one of the finest and brains that India had to offer. He was given contract for the very, very important thermal power project of Bengal, Bandel. I think he did quite a few others. Some say it's about 100 to 150 more fossil fuel-based energy projects. The important part is while fossil fuels were the rage, he thought ahead of his time and picked up, innovated enough of nuclear energy as well. Imagine going into nuclear energies in the 60s and 70s. He has left his stamp behind many a nuclear power project in India, and that makes Mr. Sadhan Dutt way, way ahead of his time. He was not confined only to power project management. He set up his industrial plant service as well. He was way ahead in conceiving of the power of information technology and IT-enabled services. He has a company in that domain as well, and it is Data Core India. And he also moved into chemicals and other domain, including properties, real estate management. What matters most in his lifestyle, in his working methodology, was that he picked up the best. He had picked up the finest team that Eastern India, for that matter, this domain in India could offer. And his company, DCPL, and later on DCPL, DC Kuljian. He bought up Kuljian Corporation of the United States and established several project offices all over the world. So one of the greatest qualities for which we remember him is his disarming qualities, his vision, and his sense of mission. I have mentioned a part of his diversification, but he also moved into other domains like a Montessori school like Mongraves in Kolkata's best Montessori school. He was into Sri Aurobindo Seva Kendra. He set up Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust, on whose platform we are speaking today. But the essence of Mr. Sadhan C Dutt were what I would say 3 pillars. Knowledge was definitely his driving energy. But what mattered and what differentiated Mr. Dutt from others, what differentiates DCPL even now is quality. No compromise on quality, no compromise on technology. Quality, a quiet dignity, no screaming from the rooftops, a quiet sense of dignity, and basically an honesty of purpose. So quality, dignity, and honesty. These are the 3 principles that Mr. Dutt has left behind as we remember him exactly 100 years on his birth anniversary. I pay my highest regard to him and to his memory.
Thank you so much, Jawhar. It is our privilege to have with us as a featured speaker today, Mr. Debashis Sen, Chairman and Managing Director, West Bengal HIDCO and NDITA, Additional Chief Secretary, Government of West Bengal. Debashis Sen is a senior IAS officer with a diploma in public administration from ENA, France, and training at JFK School of Harvard University. He has received the Jewel of Bengal Award for outstanding contribution to public administration. His innovation, Anandababu, became an icon in electoral communication. His use of blockchain in birth certificates, the trendsetter in e-governance, and his contribution to township policies of government framework of the country, the same for new cities. He is presently posted as Chairman Managing Director, HIDCO, which is a government company that is developing smart city of Newtown, Kolkata. He is passionate about sustainable development, circular economy, and inclusive communities. He is also the chairman of Nabodiganta Industrial Township Authority, NDITA, at Sector 5, Salt Lake, where he is creating a green city. Mr. Debashis Sen, may we please have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Ghosh, for having me. Thank you, Indra, for introducing me so nicely. What interests me here is this innovation and sustainability and green earth that is all combined into this online Nabanna. I'm very happy to note that next year it will be held, hopefully if we don't have the pandemic any longer, at Santiniketan. In Newtown itself, we are making a mini Santiniketan. Robindra Tirtho is there, Robi Aranya is there, where every plant mentioned in Tagore's literature is already there. And also, we have used Shohoj Pat's lithographs, those black and white pictures, on metro pillars to make the place lively and Tagore-like. But what I would like to point out is that I find a synergy with what this foundation is doing today. Today, we just have seen the launch of the online catalog of the self-help groups or the rural women who are doing various kinds of handicrafts over so many years. And today, the online catalog has been made. It's a fantastic step forward for reaching out to the rest of the world. What I wish to add here, and is a matter of collaboration, is that in Newtown, Kolkata, we have made a zero shop that says that nothing is to be wasted. There should be no solid wastage, and everything can be put into a circular economy. So we are collecting clothes from people, not very torn ones, but the ones that you have just discarded because the new style has kept in. Because the new Durga Puja has come in and you have bought the new set of clothes. We are saying, give us our old wardrobe. We will mend it, disinfect it, brand it, put it in a Fab India kind of a brown paper with a beautiful branding, and we are selling it. We are selling it at a princely sum of 20 rupees and 30 rupees. And we are urging not the workers, not the laborers and the downtrodden only, we are urging the youth, the millennials, the IT techies, and say that please buy these. Don't let this go away. Thousands of liters of water and thousands of grams of chemicals are used in making a pair of jeans. And it's after often a torn jeans that you are buying in any case from the Levi's or any place. And we are saying that recycled clothes, pre-owned clothes can be worn as a matter of statement, as a matter of choice, as a behavioral change. That I want to say that I care for the environment, I care for the for sustainability, and I care for the earth. So I don't let clothes go to the dustbin. And this is a new movement that we are trying to bring in, along with upcycling and recycling of other things that we throw away. Paint cans are being used for as sitting places, and the entire place is made out of recycled and upcycled things. A fantastic place to visit. So I would, in this inaugural session, say that the efforts taken by the foundation in organizing rural youth can come and see and have a synergy and coordination with our Zero Shop in Kolkata, in Newtown, and we are giving the space free. So can we teach them also to recycle and upcycle discarded things? Then we can really provide a marketing forum and we give it absolutely free. So I am very happy to note that innovative ways of sustainability, innovative ways of greening the earth, and innovative ways of uplifting the rural folk from Santiniketan and elsewhere is being carried out. And I would just like to say that please also join in with us. We are also doing a lot of work in sustainability. Newtown has already got the platinum rated green certificate as a city. And now with the Zero Shop, I want to get into a long-standing collaboration with those in Santiniketan. Thank you very much for having me today with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sen. And now, Atri Sengupta will deliver a vote of thanks.
Our sincere thanks to Suresh Amiya Memorial Trust, our panelists for the inaugural session, all those who helped make this festival possible, our advisors, well-wishers, and colleagues, without whom this virtual event would not have been possible in these challenging times. Thank you once again.
Thank you
And
very
that
much.
brings us to the end of the inauguration of Nabanna Earth Weekend on New Festival 2021.